There's a sign on the edge of town that calls New Sarepta the cartoon capital of Canada. It's an unusual thing to put on a sign, as most small Alberta hamlets lead with grain, cattle, or maybe a local hockey win. Cartoons are something else entirely, and it raises the question of how a place of around 500 people on the flat farmland east of Leduc ends up with a title like that. The answer takes a while to get to, but the more interesting story, honestly, is the one that comes before it. Hello and welcome to the video. If this is your first time here, my name is Mike. If you've been here before, my name is still Mike, but you would have known that already. The Moravian Brethren, a Protestant group from Saxony in Germany, founded a village called Sarepta on the Volga River in Russia sometime between 1765 and 1773. The colony held together for about a century. Then the established German Lutheran Church in Russia, backed by the Russian government, began pushing to bring Sarepta under its authority. Many of the brethren objected, left the colony, and eventually found their way to South America, the United States, and Canada. That's the thread that eventually leads here. Settlers from that diaspora began arriving in the area southeast of Edmonton in the late 1880s and early 1890s. When it came time to choose a name for the community, about 60 people signed a document favoring the name Sarepta, honoring the village that their forebears had left behind in Russia. The government officially designated the name on October 2nd, 1904. When Alberta became a province the following year, New was added, partly to distinguish it from an existing Sarepta in Ontario, and partly because the Moravian Brethren felt it marked a genuinely new chapter for the name they'd carried across two continents. A Moravian church was erected in New Sarepta in 1904, the same year the settlement was officially named. The school district followed in 1906, and the railroad came through in 1915, which tied the community to the wider grain economy that was reshaping rural Alberta at the time. The community incorporated as a village in 1960, but in 2010, the provincial government dissolved that village status, and New Sarepta became a hamlet within Leduc County. Which brings us back to the cartoons. Yardley Jones was an editorial cartoonist who had worked for major newspapers in Toronto, Montreal, and Edmonton. He won Canada's National Newspaper Award in 1971, and at some point, he connected with New Sarepta. The exact nature of that relationship seems a bit contested in the sources, but he's described as the hamlet's adopted son, rather than a lifelong resident. What's clear is that his cartoons turned up in the local paper, in the school, on signs around the community, and the town leaned into it. The cartoon capital designation followed. It's a little bit of quirky civic identity for sure, but it fits a place that's always been willing to carry forward names and identities from somewhere else and make them its own. New Sarepta today is a small hamlet about 23 kilometers east of Leduc along Highway 21. Around 500 people live there. Has a curling rink, a golf course, minor hockey, a library with a local history connection, and the kind of institutional continuity that suggests a place that has figured out how to persist. The Moravian Brethren who signed that petition in 1904 were looking for somewhere to put down roots after a long, complicated journey. By most measures, they found it. So if you enjoyed this little journey, give that like button a tap. It's free and oddly satisfying. If you haven't subscribed yet, just know I share a new small town story every week, weather permitting, of course. Feel free to pass this along to your aunt, your neighbor, or that one friend who still thinks Alberta ends at Calgary. They need this more than they know. And you'll find gradient imaging on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok because apparently I'm not busy enough. But until next week, drive safe, wave at strangers, and take the scenic route.